Halloween, best horror movie, worst horror franchise. Alright, massive spoilers coming up for all of the Halloween franchises. If you haven't seen any of them, watch the first one. That's kind of the one that's worth bothering with. And that's kind of what this video is about. Now, the Halloween franchise's timeline is a complete mess. As you will probably be aware, there was an attempt to sort of quasi-reboot the timeline with 2018's Halloween, again just called Halloween, which posits itself as a sequel to just the first movie, 1978's John Carpenter's Halloween, to give it its full title, and proposes that that's the only thing which happened and all the other sequels didn't happen, and we're just making a sequel to the first movie, so we're sort of almost rebooting the whole timeline just to the end of the first movie. And it's not bad, if only because of all the various sequels and reboots, it's the one that comes closest to reproducing the brutal simplicity of the first movie. But because it was a horror movie that made money, we had to have a trilogy, and it was continued with Halloween Kills a couple of years ago, which I haven't seen, but have read entirely bad reviews of. And this year we now have Halloween Ends, which I haven't seen yet, but by all accounts is just kind of redundant. Because this franchise, this new Halloween franchise, has run into exactly the same problem that the previous two Halloween franchises ran into, which is that this story doesn't work as a franchise. Now, again, the first movie succeeds if only because of its brutal simplicity. The story is simplicity itself. Once upon a time, a little boy murders his sister and her boyfriend, and nobody knows why. They lock him up in a secure mental institution, and 15 years later he breaks out, goes back to his hometown, and starts murdering people again, and nobody knows why. That's it! That's the whole plot. Even the ending is ambiguous, where Donald Pleasance's psychiatrist empties his gun into Michael and he falls out of the window and we rush to the window and he's gone. Now, are we to assume that he survived this and has run away, which is certainly the premise that both the sequels to that movie start off with? Or has he perhaps just disappeared? Because there is a hint that something supernatural might be at work, but it's only a hint, a suggestion, the faintest notion that perhaps Michael is more than just human and is merely the human vessel for some ancient evil, but this is never even examined and never mind explored. It's just an idea, a possible extra dimension to the story. So that, for me anyway, is why that movie succeeds. It's so simple. But if you're going to then spin that idea off into a movie franchise, then either you can just endlessly rehash the first movie, just lots more Michael hacking people to death and never really explore why, which is kind of what they do with the Friday 13th movies, the only real interest of which is to find out which implement Jason kills the next person with. Or you delve into the mythos, you either examine Michael's own backstory as a human being, which is what the Rob Zombie remakes did, or that you delve further into that supernatural element, the idea that Michael is a vessel for some ancient evil, which is what the first lot of sequels did. And as soon as you do either one of those, you are distancing yourself from what made the original movie work, which was the sheer blunt enigma of the whole thing. Now, ironically, they did actually have the right idea for doing a Halloween sequel, but unfortunately they had it one film too late. After 1981's Halloween 2, which follows directly on from the events of the first movie, I mean, literally it starts at the second the original movie stops. They then decided, right, well, that's it. We've wrapped up the Michael Myers story. Because, slight spoilers for Halloween 2, at the end of Halloween 2, Michael gets set on fire and blown up. So given that they hadn't really established the idea that Michael is basically immortal yet, that was kind of the end of Michael. So what John Carpenter and his pals then thought was, how about we make Halloween in just a kind of an umbrella title and make lots of completely different horror movies all set at Halloween and all with a Halloween theme. And that's what they then did with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which has nothing to do with guys in masks and boiler suits killing each other and is in fact about an evil toy company trying to unleash an ancient curse through the TV. It's completely fucking mental and I love it. Now that was how you could have made more Halloween movies, turn it into an anthology. But unfortunately they'd already made Halloween 2, which was more of Michael Myers. So when they come out with a Halloween 3 which has nothing to do with Michael Myers and indeed is obviously set in a different universe because at one point the original Halloween movie is on the TV, audiences just didn't know what to make of it and stayed away in droves. So of course, lesson learned, and then you have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and let the diminishing returns commence. The whole franchise slides slowly downhill. Bit of a bump up with H2O, the 20th anniversary movie, where they get Jamie Lee back. But then you have Halloween Resurrection, which is a sequel to that, which is rubbish again. Then you have the Rob Zombie remake in 2007, which, like I said, delves more into Michael's troubled childhood and tries to make him a more rounded human being. But that again kind of misses the point, because what makes Michael interesting is the very distinct possibility that he is not a human being. And then Rob Zombie made his own Halloween 2, which has nothing to do with the 1981 Halloween 2, and I've never got around to seeing that. So yeah, Halloween, the original, 1978, one of my favourite movies of all time. A remarkable movie. I think it is still, it certainly was at the time, the most profitable movie ever made. Not because of how much money it made, but because of how little it cost. They brought the whole thing in for $300,000, which is just insane. You couldn't make a trailer for that these days. And about a third of that went on getting Donald Pleasance in. About another half of what was left went on renting the Steadicam cameras, which was a stroke of genius because it meant they could make the whole movie handheld. And above and beyond that, they were pretty much sellotape and stringing the whole damn production. There's a show on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us, and there's one about the making of Halloween. It is hilarious how much that movie was made seat of the pants style. But they just got it right. All the important decisions were good. And it's a timeless classic. But it's not a film which lends itself to sequels. I realise this may be a controversial opinion, and I look forward to being taken to pieces in the comments. See you soon and happy Halloween.
Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please hit like and share. If you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe. And if you'd like to help me make more, please visit patreon.com/MitchBenn.